Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narsimhan. Terrorist Gatwapanu is at it again. This Bharat-born American national is yet again up to provoking and rabble-rousing. Tonight, first up, we take the right stand against this man, his masters and his devious agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, in his latest act of provocation, Panu has attempted to draw a parallel with Afzal Guru and the parliament attacks of 2001. He, however, has added the word contrast and his communication has replaced bullet with ballot. So this is another referendum pitch. His agenda of secession and breaking up of Bharat emerges in the hashtag where he says Delhi will become Khalistan. Now, Panu is a lawyer and understands international law. By replacing bullet with ballot, he will claim that he is espousing a peaceful method of protest. To evoke the memory of parliament attacks is a creative license that he as a protester has taken. Such will be the shallow justifications offered. His paymasters have crafted this message flirting dangerously with the freedom of expression but have technically not crossed the line. However, this bile spewed by Panu exposes him at three levels. He is a puppet parroting the lines of the ISI. Forget being Khalsa, he is not even a Sikh. He has no understanding of the geographical spread of the erstwhile Punjab, nor does he actually respect Sikh history. 24 years since Bharat was split on the religious lines, the Pakistanis were humiliated in 1971. As they were split into two nations, East Pakistan became Bangladesh. 90,000 Pakistani soldiers were cuffed and made prisoners of war. They were released as the biggest act of mercy committed by a nation in recent history. These soldiers went back humiliated. The split of their nation, global loss of face and utter humiliation of the Pakistani armed forces still haunts the deep state of Pakistan. Soon after, the Pak military establishment started plotting a similar split of Bharat. They looked at two possibilities, one of Kashmir and the other of Punjab. And with that emerged this Khalistan bogey. Many experts call it the ISI and the Pak deep states K2 plan, Kashmir and Khalistan. What Panu is saying day in and day out is nothing but part of the K2 plan of the ISI. Why is a Sikh drawing issue and parallels with a pan-Islamist agenda? Does he not know that Sikhs were the first line of defense for Bharat against pan-Islamist marauders for more than half a millennia? Why has a Sikh like Panu never talked about Hari Singh Nalwa or Raja Ranjit Singh? Does he not know the teachings and the words of Guru Gobind Singh? Who killed the Guru's sons? Why is a self-proclaimed Sikh like Panu batting for the very lot that espoused pan-Islam? Does Panu even follow the 5 basic Ks of Sikhism or Sikhi? Kesh, Kanga, Kirpan, Khada, Kacha. So how is he calling himself a Sikh? And can someone who talks of breaking another nation, threatens hurt and damage, ever truly be Khalsa in the true name of the word? Pure, true, Sanatan, Sach. Ironically, Panu does not even know what he is asking for. He claims to represent Sikhs for justice, but did he demand justice when Sikhs were being butchered in Afghanistan by the Taliban? Who brought Afghan Sikhs and the Guru Granth Sahib safely out of the war zone? Bharat or Pakistan? Who sent trainfuls of slaughtered Sikhs from the now Pak province of Punjab to Delhi? Has Panu forgotten that? Has he ever asked this? Who insisted that they either read the Kalma or find their Sar Kalam? Bharat or Pakistan? Where did Sikhs from West Pakistan run to seek refuge? Does Panu not know that it is Bharat that proudly celebrates a West Pak-born Sikh as its Prime Minister in Dr. Manmohan Singh? Forget justice. What space have Sikhs been given in the mainstream in Pakistan? Why is Panu as a Sikh not asking these questions? How is he batting for justice then? Is Panu demanding Lahore, the capital of the Punjab kings? Historically, Lahore is the capital. Is he demanding Nankana Sahib and Kartarpur Sahib? The holy places of Sikhs now being corrupted by pan-Islamist lot backed by the ISI. Has Panu ever raised his voice against the dilapidated state of the palace of Raja Ranjit Singh over in Pakistan? Did he express anger when a loony Islamist beheaded the statue of the Raja in Lahore in 2022? Where was Panu then? Where was his justice call? This Rabul Rouser, this terrorist, is a fake, ladies and gentlemen. He's a puppet at the hands of the deep state of the ISI. His agenda is to disturb peace in Bharat and drive a wedge amidst Hindus and Sikhs, forgetting that both complete each other. It was Hindu families that named their sons and daughters to fight like one against the invaders. And that's how Sikhi was born. The Sikh identity draws its roots from Sanatan Dharma. Now, America needs to realize that their own citizen is a pawn at the hands of the devious pan-Islamist agenda and, of course, secessionist agenda of the Pakistan deep state, enemies of its friend Bharat. It's an attack on the sovereignty of the world's largest democracy by entities who have lost every time they have fought a direct war with us. They can't fight directly with us, and that's why this is another proxy war. America must bring Pannu to justice. They must bring him to heel. Else, one would be inclined to believe that their intelligence has a hand in propping him up. Is he a CIA plus ISI joint project? Is this Five Eyes bogey on the K-goons being deliberately raised to pin Bharat down into a corner or push it into a corner while our rise is being celebrated? Such theories are gathering steam. Uncle Sam needs to choose wisely. That said, now moving on to yet another instance, ladies and gentlemen, that should draw concern for all of us watching this broadcast. Parents who aspire to send their wards, their children to some of the best top-notch academic institutions in the West. This is a story that touches every individual. A story calling out genocide apologists. Since the 7th of October, Hamas terrorist attack on Israel, the US Department of Education opened an unprecedented number of investigations into alleged incidents of hate on college campuses. Three of the top most prestigious universities in the United States face some very tough questions. In a high-profile congressional hearing, presidents of the three universities, Harvard University, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and the University of Pennsylvania, refused to explicitly say that calls for genocide of Jewish people violates campus rules on harassment, and instead they went on to say that it is not bullying or harassment. The universities are being condemned for not defending this outright anti-Semitic sentiment in their campuses, one that is nothing but bigotry and hate, one that is a genocide call against an entire community of people, the Jews. Outright hatred against anybody who is Israeli or Jew.
At MIT, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate MIT's code of conduct or rules regarding bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
If targeted at individuals, not making public statements.
Yes or no? Calling for the genocide of Jews does not constitute bullying and harassment?
I have not heard calling for the genocide for Jews on our campus.
But you've heard chants for intifada.
I've heard chants, which can be anti-Semitic depending on the context, when calling for the elimination of the Jewish people.
So those would not be according to the MIT's code of conduct or rules?
That would be investigated as harassment if pervasive and severe.
Ms. McGill, at Penn, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's rules or code of conduct? Yes or no?
If the speech turns into conduct, it can be harassment, yes.
I am asking specifically calling for the genocide of Jews. Does that constitute bullying or harassment?
If it is directed and severe or pervasive, it is harassment.
So the answer is yes.
It is a context-dependent decision, Congresswoman.
It's a context-dependent decision. That's your testimony today. Calling for the genocide of Jews is depending upon the context. That is not bullying or harassment. This is the easiest question to answer yes, Ms. McGill.
If the speech becomes conduct, it can be harassment, yes.
Conduct meaning committing the act of genocide? The speech is not harassment. This is unacceptable, Ms. McGill. I'm going to give you one more opportunity for the world to see your answer. Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's code of conduct when it comes to bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
It can be harassment.
The answer is yes. And Dr. Gay, at Harvard, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
It can be, depending on the context.
What's the context?
targeted at an individual.
It's targeted at Jewish students, Jewish individuals. Do you understand your testimony is dehumanizing them? Do you understand that dehumanization is part of anti-Semitism?
Anti-Semitic rhetoric, when it crosses into conduct that amounts to bullying, harassment, intimidation, that is actionable conduct, and we do take action.
So the answer is yes, that calling for the genocide of Jews violates Harvard Code of Conduct, correct?
Again, it depends on the context.
It does not depend on the context. The answer is yes, and this is why you should resign. These are unacceptable answers across the board.
Unacceptable answers across the board, and some of the top academic institutions in the US of A, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't stop there. There are others who have raised concerns that this perhaps intellectual corruption has been far infiltrated across multiple institutions. Genocide apologists, are the top academia intellectually corrupted?
Hello, Moto.
Anand Ranganathan, author and political commentator with us, is also a scientist. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, namaste. Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst with me here in the studio. Namaste. Professor Vijay Vishwanathan, author, co-author of Snakes in the Ganga, should be joining us from San Francisco very, very soon. And Vivek Srivastava, political analyst, also with us. Namaste and Jai Hind to everybody. Thank you very, very much. Dr. Ranganathan, does this concern you, sir?
Good evening, Anand, and good evening to my fellow panelists. Yes, it does concern me. But I want to trigger a wider debate because I feel there are two issues here, and we might be ending up discussing just one of them and ignore the other because it's comfortable. Number one, yes, the presidents of Harvard, MIT, and UPenn should be condemned for saying that calling for the genocide of Jews does not violate their university's code of conduct, and in effect, they will take action only when the conduct happens, i.e., the Jews are actually killed. Anand, a call for genocide or a call to behead does not come under the umbrella of free speech in our opinion, because such calls have direct bearing on the physical safety of the victim. It is like a rape threat. It does not conform to free speech. So yes, rationalizing calls for Jews to be killed is unacceptable. It is an open-ended, extrajudicial, extra-constitutional call to everyone and anyone will take it up, and that is the danger. It would have been interesting, though, to know if the presidents of these universities would have held the same opinion where calls for genocide of Palestinians were made. If they did, then it has to be accepted that their views are not exclusively anti-Semitic, just misinformed and confused about what constitutes free speech. Number two, but I want to ask, Jews are the worst of creatures, 98.6, 855. Jews should be condemned to hellfire, 455. Jews are apes, 265, 7, 166. Jews are led by Satan, 460. Jews are eternally cursed, 447. I want to ask, did the president of Harvard say this? No. These statements are accepted at face value, never condemned by billions. But do we criticize those billions? Shall I inform you of what is worse as penalty from Allah? It is that those whom Allah has cursed and with whom He became angry and made them apes and pigs and slaves of Taghut, 560. Did the president of MIT say this, Anand? But is it considered hate speech by those condemning Harvard right now? The Jews say, Erza is the son of Allah. That is their statement from their mouths. They imitate the saying of those who disbelieve before them. May Allah destroy them, 930. This is an open declaration to destroy Jews. Did the president of some Ivy League university say this? Israel will continue to exist until Islam obliterates it, just as it has obliterated others before it. The day of judgment will not come about until Muslims fight Jews and kill them. Then the Jews will hide behind rocks and trees, and the rocks and trees will cry out, "Oh Muslim, there is a Jew hiding behind me, come and kill him," unquote. Did the president of UPenn say this, or Harvard? No. This is verbatim the preamble of the charter of Hamas, and Hamas was democratically elected by the Palestinians. Anand, one may fidget and squirm and feel uncomfortable by these facts that I have told before you. But the truth is, we are yet again falling into the trap of snaring the fundamentalists but sparing the fundamentals.
Vivek Srivastava?
Yes. Now see, there was a beautiful rhetoric by my dear friend Anand Ranganathan. He is confusing Palestine and Hamas. He is confusing the Jews with Israel, and that is where the problem starts. The whole narrative of Dr. Anand Ranganathan is religion-based. It is Jews versus Christians versus Muslims. Muslims means Hamas and Hamas means Palestine. And this is the wrong narrative. Everybody condemned unequivocally whatever happened on October the 7th. Everybody said the violence of Hamas is wrong, it should be condemned. However, for 70 years, what Israel has been doing over there, that also needs to be condemned. When the Holocaust happened, the communists fought. We fought for the Jews, we fought against Hitler, we destroyed him, and so we are not anti-Jews. However, today what the state of Israel is doing, what Netanyahu is doing over there, that needs to be condemned. When the Secretary General of the United Nations wanted a ceasefire, even then there were people who were not even ready for a ceasefire. They said, fine, Israel should be allowed to take the revenge. So revenge is what is justified, and our beloved Prime Minister, our country, our Foreign Minister, we also abstained from voting in that particular thing, which is very unfortunate. So it is, we should not see things from the perspective of religions. We should see things from the perspective of politics in which religions are involved. For example, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Turkey, there are so many countries which are Islamic countries. They did not support the cause of Palestine. India did. We have a whole history. We have a whole history, right from Mrs. Gandhi's time when Yasser Arafat used to come. Yes. Obviously,
Vivek,
second thing is
sir, 1 minute,
yes.
please do not miss the woods for the trees. This is academic institutions which are saying calling for the genocide of a particular group of people is
now
okay.
I'm coming to that.
Is
now
okay. In all your politics and semantics, please don't like Anand was saying. Don't forget the fundamentals, sir. The fundamentals is this. Yeah, Anand Ranganathan wants to respond. Yes, and then
Thank you.
I'll just take 10 seconds more because I've not
okay.
spoken to the university.
Anand, just 30 seconds more, please.
I'll
to
take
waste
10 seconds more. Anand, I'll take 10 seconds. 10 seconds
Please.
Now, Anand himself, I have a lot of respect for Dr. Anand Ranganathan, a very intelligent man. I find him a very honest individual, a man who speaks very well, and he's a brilliant teacher. I want to ask him, what is the duty of a teacher? You want to punish, you want to train, you want to improve, what do you actually want to do, or you want to victimize? It was rightly said that yes, out of context, these remarks which were anti-Jewish were made over there. They are wrong remarks. They should not have been made. But it was also rightly said by the academicians of the place that we need to see the context in which they were made. Are they actually harmful? Are they actually being directed towards somebody?
No. Whatever be the context, sir. Tomorrow, if in one of the universities, let Anand Ranganathan respond. Yes, Anand Ranganathan, please.
Right. As I already explained, the violent threats, for example, a rape threat, for example, such and such person must be raped, or such and such person must be killed. This is different from a free speech and a teacher trying to reform a student. That's preposterous, Vivek. And number two, my heart goes out to you because you stand up for the rights of persecuted Muslims, and that is great. I just want to ask you, in the last 5 years, 1,740 mosques in China have been demolished and destroyed, their domes gone, their minarets gone, and 1 million Muslims are in concentration camps in China being fed pork. I want to ask you, why have you never stood for those Muslims? Ever? Why don't you condemn China? You are condemning Israel from Kingdom Come. Why don't you have the guts to condemn China? I know why. Because you will say, I am lying. Yes. This is what you will say.
No, I won't say you are lying. You are just buying into American propaganda. Okay, number one. Number two, Dr. Ranganathan, do not try to see.
Whatever is convenient, they will accept. Whatever is inconvenient, they will reject. This is the classic.
Even if I accept,
sir, in this entire neo-left-driven academia, it's been intellectually corrupted and intellectually infiltrated by pan-Islamist agenda, which says calling for the culling of a particular community or the dismantling of another is perfectly fine in the academic discourse. Dr. Vijay Vishwanathan is with us, Tehseen Poonawala with us. Yes, Dr. Vijay Vishwanathan, are you concerned that this is not going to stop only with Jews? It's going to extend to other communities? And it's already
Absolutely,
started.
Anand, and yeah, absolutely, Anand, and to Anand Ranganathan's point, in fact, the whole, the concentration camps in China of the Muslims is actually the leaders of these people are trained by Harvard, right? Harvard Kennedy School actually trains the Uyghur Muslim camp heads, the CCP, commissars to run them. They're actually Harvard Kennedy fellows. Right, so this is how bad the problem is. It all goes back to scholarship of critical race theory. So the world is viewed as oppressors and oppressed, and so tomorrow, if you are deemed an oppressor, then the same thing happens to you. So that is why we have the caste issue now boiling up in America, because the Hindus are deemed oppressors, and so this will happen everywhere. Harvard, in fact.
No, but how come, Dr. Vishwanathan, those who drove out Kashmiri Hindus from Kashmir were never oppressors? Those who culled those who culled Sikhs during partition are never oppressors. Those who culled Hindus during partition never. Direct Action Day. Those who culled 30,000 Hindus on the streets of Kolkata are never oppressors.
So they will decide who is oppressed. It has nothing to do with whether you are really oppressed or not. These are identity-based categories that are put upon certain groups, and then you get privilege. So they decide who has privilege and who doesn't. So when you look at schools like Harvard now,
Right.
The president's statements to Congress, it is not at all surprising. The snakes in the Ganga. It was a canary in the coal mine. We uncovered all of this years ago, and the Indology studies itself is a canary in the coal mine, which shows that these problems are going to happen everywhere. In fact, even the whites in America have a problem today because they are considered oppressors, and they can't say anything about it. You go through struggle sessions and you have to admit guilt. So this is happening to all aspects of society across the globe. And this is essentially communism with commissars in place. If you want, Harvard and all these IVs have one administrative person for every student in undergrad. So that's what you're paying for. So there's one administration staff for every undergrad student. So imagine 1,500. Yale, in fact, brought out the statistics. And so imagine 1,500 administration staff. These are essentially commissars, DEI officers, to make sure they indoctrinate students and so that they go out and protest. So this is what you're getting for your education.
Tessin, please yield 10 seconds to Anand, and then I'll come to you, Tessin. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. Vivek came to this panel as you. I exposed him and he became U/A. Now I just want to expose him further so he becomes A. When Vivek talks about, when Vivek, stop laughing, Vivek. When Vivek talks about that we defeated the Nazis, the Stalins, I defeated. Does he know? I know it's a scientist. I'm a scientist, so it's embarrassing to tell him history. But does he know about the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact? Do you know about that, Vivek? How Stalin?
Yes,
and
I'm
Hitler
aware of
came
it.
to a pact before they
Yes.
invaded Poland. Do you know about that? What do you have to say about that?
We tried
shook
peace.
hands.
When peace didn't work, we went for war.
No, that's it. See, this is
We
what
tried peace. When peace didn't happen, we went for war.
let us steer clear. I'm just saying this entire communist neo-left agenda has now been infiltrated and corrupted also, because there is, and that's also been mentioned by in Snakes in the Ganga by Rajiv Malhotra and Dr. Vijay Vishwanathan. We'll come back in just a bit, but Tessin's been very patient. So Tessin, unhindered, 3 minutes to you. Go ahead, please. Make your point.
So I was astonished and I was surprised when I saw this video. I wasn't surprised. I knew that this would happen because you do have the left loonies everywhere now running the academia. That is something that we should be very scared about, because in that entire deposition, this question was very simple. And I always say, one is either pregnant or not pregnant. You can't be half pregnant. So either there's a call for a genocide or there is no genocide. You can't have a genocide if it affects somebody. Then when does it affect? When somebody is killed? When somebody is killed? But this is not just a problem in the Western world as I see it. This is a problem in Indian universities as well, Anand. You see, when Nupur Sharma said what she said, and I don't hold brief for her, you had people on the street saying, Sar tan se juda. On the streets of India. Is that acceptable? On the other hand, the rowdy right. So the loony left, the rowdy right. Goli maro dash dash ko. I can't use the word. Even if somebody is a traitor, are you allowed to shoot people on the streets? or words like somebody's a termite, somebody's Somalia, or right now the recent disclose, and I tweeted about this, the whole Gatwapanu jab, that makes the whole thing, makes people susceptible to attacks. One must understand that a genocide does not happen overnight. It's not overnight that somebody comes, they have weapons and they come and they attack. There's a build-up, there's a propaganda, there is hate, there's a victim. As society that stands for free speech, we must be very clear that hate speech is not free speech. Whichever side of the spectrum we are, whether the loony left or the rowdy right, calling for the elimination of somebody is unacceptable.
Yeah, but
period.
The fact of the matter is those who espouse Pan-Islam are also rowdy right. They are also right. They are
Yeah,
far
they
right.
are-
They are extreme right.
True. But in India, they're confused as left, unfortunately.
No,
That's the
that's
confusion.
exactly what I'm saying. How this has been corrupted the world over. Now, Dr. Vijay Vishwanathan, yes, please.
See, the other thing is the response from Jewish leaders, business leaders like Bill Ackman and people like that, right? Whereas Indian business leaders like Anand Mahindra, the Piramals, the Mittals are actually funding this. So they are actually indirectly the cause of all this, because a whole host of scholars from India, of Indian background, are being trained in these institutes in these leftist ideas. And then they go out to spew out this kind of scholarship. So if you look at someone like Bill Ackman, who takes these things seriously, who cuts funding, who writes to the Harvard board, there are other Israeli businessmen who've cut off. They said, we don't want to be on the Kennedy School board. And they have actually said these public statements. Whereas the Indian elite business people are quiet. We brought this out. We said we've done a civilizational audit. So see where your money is going and what it's producing against the Indian civilization. And we've not had a peep. Rajiv ji has gone and said, hey, I'll come and talk to you, many times. And this is, and they're just quiet. They continue to fund. They're happy being on the boards of these institutions just for the privilege of being on the board. So that is where we lack character and moral fiber, our business leaders as well.
Well, that's a very solid accusation or a solid point that you make, Dr. Vijay Vishwanathan, and it's part of your book, and this is something which you have called out openly. But the other larger concern, as Dr. Anand Ranganathan puts his hand up again, is that if the academia is intellectually corrupted, how can we actually look to them for academic excellence for our wards? Because we are sending kids from here, maximum amount of students who are going on scholarship, on merit, or however, they are going from Bharat. Dr. Ranganathan.
Yes, no, I just wanted to add to that very, very small bit. I'm a great fan of Ms. Vishwanathan, and she and Rajiv ji have written a real masterpiece that must be read by everyone. So thank you for writing that. But just to add, you're absolutely right about Indian billionaires are actually funding, Hindu-phobic reams, if I may say so, books and texts and everything, and classes. That's a fact. But Ms. Vishwanathan, if the people who read those, the students, would be in their hundreds or possibly thousands, our government is churning out millions of students who have no knowledge about the left's Mari Jhapi massacre, where 10,000 innocent Dalits were murdered by the communists. They still eulogize Che Guevara. They still eulogize Mao, who killed 63 million of his own people. They still are people like Vivek, who eulogize Stalin, who killed 10 million of his own people. So who do we Indians put the blame? Do we put the blame on American universities who are churning out maybe 100 or 1,500 Indian students who are warped and brainwashed? Or do we blame our government, who is churning out day after day hundreds of millions of brainwashed communist zombies?
Both,
my larger point on this academia being corrupted intellectually, you can have a political ideology. The left or the communists are supposed to be atheists. How are atheists now taking sides?
Yeah,
and how are they leaning towards sending burqa-clad women into Sabrimala, and that is all right? How are they standing there? And if this is their left-inclined communist or communist-driven or left-inclined academia, how are they okay when one group calls for the genocide of another? They're supposed to be atheists. They should have taken a position which is not leaning towards anybody. Yes.
No. Listen to me now. Everybody, Anand has criticized the statement, genocide is wrong, calling for genocide is wrong, that is one thing. but how the academic leadership of a particular university sees it, let them be
Sir,
a better judge of it.
they were found,
Number
they
two,
were
Dr. Anand Ranganathan
they were
tries to-
tested,
let me
they were
complete, let me
served,
complete.
and they were found
Sir, mujhe
wanting
complete karne
by
dijiye.
by
Sir,
the
mujhe
Congress
complete
itself.
karne
We
dijiye.
played out the video, and the unanimous
letting
call
me
was that
complete,
none
sir.
of these presidents
Aap mujhe
deserve
time
to
dijiye.
stay on their positions because they were unable to take a clear
I-
position
Yeah,
on
fine.
such calls
Anand,
being made.
One more point
Yes,
to that
yes,
is
Dr.
they get
Vishwanathan, and
funding
then
from
there's
the
some
US
final word.
government.
If we
They get funding from the
No,
US
no, no,
government,
let me
therefore
just
the Congress
complete. Now,
asks
second
the
thing is-
questions.
They get funding.
No, you cannot have
From the
political
US
interference
government.
with the academics.
They get funding.
You cannot direct the
They get
academicians
funding
and the
from the
teachers
US
to do what
government,
the
and that's why the
wants.
Congress asked them,
They have
asked
a
them these
mind of their
questions.
own.
Ask them this
Are you
question.
trying
Sir,
to buy
they
the
don't have a
teachers?
mind.
Are you
No,
trying
no,
to buy the
Vivek
teachers?
Srivastava, they
Are
don't
you
seem
trying
to
to
have
buy
a
the
mind of their
students?
own. That mind
Are you
seems to
trying
have
to direct the-
been
the
corrupted,
vice chancellor
sir.
of this country?
That intellect seems to
Sir,
have been corrupted
sir,
by the
sir,
way
now
that
Modi
they were
Sarkar
answering
nahi hai.
questions. What should be
The
done?
way you are
Tessie?
buying the
What should be
teachers and
done?
the universities
Are we
and
worried
filling the
that this
positions
should
over
this will
here,
actually
there is
see?
some
It
independence
is
over
from
there.
these academia only that dismantled global Hindutva also erupted, sir.
Yes.
There should be no interference
Sir,
of the
it
government
is from
in
these
the academics.
academia only that dismantled
If the
global
academic
Hindutva
leaders of a
also
particular university have a stand,
emerged.
that should be
It is from
respected.
these academia only that SB 403 has also emerged.
Yes,
that
you cannot
plans
have
to
Mr.
that
Modi's
plans
government
to that
interfering in
plans
the academics
to
over there the
which
way
has
it
the
is,
ulterior
and
motive
writing a
of trying
curriculum
to
of its own
directly
that suits
impact the
itself.
IITs of our country. Please understand where it is coming
No,
from
we also
and
know
what
the
the
agenda
agenda
of changing the
is. Yes, Tehsil
courseware.
Punawala.
I
Whether it is
concede to
CBSE
what
or it is a
I
university
concede to what
education,
Vivek said, that there must
rewriting
be
history.
Vivek, if I
Sir,
may.
those historians who wrote our history who believe that Yudhishthir was influenced by Ashoka
rewriting history
and by
that suits
Buddha.
the
These are
agenda
those
of the
historians, sir.
That will
Let's not get into it. Yes.
I concede to what Vivek says, that government should not interfere in universities or in intelligentsia. I agree with that. But the job in a university is to discuss in a peaceful manner within rules, framework of humanity and laws of society. If you call for genocide, it is not government interference, it is law and order breakage. And it is the goddamn duty of the government to step in, quell it, whether it is calling for genocide of
Let the
Jews,
dean and director
Hindus,
take an
Muslims
action.
or
The government is
anybody.
not supposed to act
A
still.
genocidal call is a genocidal call, and we need to stop it in the say. You cannot say we will only act
Fine.
when the genocide act happens. Period.
No,
That's wrong.
not just.
Let the director and the dean of the institution, let the proctor interfere
Yes,
and take some
okay,
action.
I have to wind
The
up. Yes,
government should
Dr.
have nothing to do
Ranganathan,
with
final
it.
word. Yeah.
Yes. Now, Vivek has already denied the Chinese internment of 1 million Muslims as American propaganda. I want to ask him a simple question. Did the communists perpetrate the Mari Jhapi massacre where 10,000 Dalits were killed, Vivek? Did they do it? Yes or
Sir,
no?
Palestine is also not a Muslim problem. You see a Muslim versus Hindu everywhere. For you, Palestine is
Sir,
also
the
a Muslim
doctrine of
problem.
Hamas
Even
elected by
Palestine
the
is not a Muslim
Palestinians
problem.
outrightly says what? Outrightly has an agenda which is genocidal, sir. It's part of their doctrine. And that's what Dr. Ranganathan started with. Now that's what happens, sir.
Hamas is not
In your
Palestine.
case, sir, you are very
Hamas
selective
is
about
not
what you want to
Palestine.
listen to, what you want to
Palestine
retain, and
is
what
the
you want to
bigger-
espouse.
is the bigger
Because that
issue.
which is inconvenient escapes your notice. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I have to wind
No,
up, but
absolutely
we
not.
need
Palestine
to
is
be
the bigger
alert.
issue.
We need to be alert.
It
We're
is
going
the
to take
issue
a very
of
short
the-
break. I'm going to request Dr. Ranganathan to stay on. We'll have yet another. And Vivek Srivastava also stays on with us. Tehsin and Dr. Vijay Vishwanathan, thank you very much. When we come back, this entire Gaumutra bar that came from Senthil Kumar, is this Periyar inspired Hindu Messiah? This entire rationalism bogey. Stay with us.
Hello, Moto. Movement that inspires.
News is everywhere, but so much of it is noise. But how do you make sense of it? How do you sift the grain from the chaff and get to the point that matters?
Prostax, where the big stories are simplified, bite by bite. Weeknights at 9 on CNN News 18.
Movement that inspires.
What does the constitution mean?
How can we educate a 60-year-old man?
Why beat around the bush? It's time to say it like it is, to brush aside political correctness and present the real picture with clarity and candor. Because there's only one side that matters.
Plain Speak with Shivani Gupta, only on CNN News 18.
Movement that inspires.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Is this entire anti-North narrative central to the DMK politics? And not just anti-North, does this Dravidian party thrive on E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar inspired Dravidistan soft separatism, that is separate? Tamil is separate, that area is separate, and also Hindu Messiah on the garb of nationalism. We ask this question because several instances point towards this entire Periyaric quote-unquote hostility. In the last 6 months itself, there have been 2 instances where this kind of a mindset has been on display. As the BJP says, first it was the Stalin's son Udayanidhi on that platform which itself had the agenda of eradication of Sanatan Dharma, equating it to dengue, malaria and also others going back and stretching it, equating it to HIV, etc. Part of the DMK leadership only. Just yesterday, DMK MP Senthil Kumar calling Hindi heartland Gaumutra state. Now, he is somebody who in the past has espoused in the garb of rationalism, spewed huge amount of vitriol and bile against Ram, Murugan, Hindu deities, Hindu riti rivas, or perhaps traditions as you would say. So, is this deliberately being done? And what is the agenda behind this? Will this actually have purchase on a land that celebrates traditions that perhaps was a peak and a beacon of Sanatan Pratha across the country, has had some of the most stalwarts in terms of literary work, the oldest of our temples, and preserving some of our oldest culture and texts and traditions as far as Bharatvarsha is concerned. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author, commentator with us. Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP. Chandan Gowda, professor, Institute of Social and Economic Change with us. And Vivek Srivastava, political analyst. Namaste and Jai Hind to everybody. Thank you very, very much. Sanju Verma, how would you see this? Many would say that Senthil Kumar has now apologized. His comments have been expunged. He has stood up in the floor of parliament and said, I withdraw my comments, withdraw my statement. Are you ready to let it be thereon?
Anand, let's be very clear. Once is coincidence, twice is happenstance, and 3 times is enemy action. And I don't want to trivialize the diatribe of Senthil Kumar by reducing it to a James Bond movie quote. But let truth be told. I think if you look at the trajectory of DMK and its leaders in the last couple of months, anti-Sanatana comments, anti-Hindu hate speech, all this is being rationalized under the garb of freedom of speech. Please tell me, put a hand on your heart. And when I say put a hand on your heart, this is obviously for the other side, which gives, a go-ahead to just about any anti-Hindu rhetoric under the guise of FOE. Please tell me, the way you said, and when I said you, I mean Udayanidhi Stalin no less. And he is apparently, last I heard was the Minister of Youth and Sports Development. And for him to say that Sanatan Dharma is akin to dengue, malaria, AIDS, rabies, what have you, and then for another senior DMK leader to endorse Udayanidhi Stalin and say, "Wah bhai wah, ye to bahut sahi kaha Udayanidhi Stalin ne, Sanatan Dharma is actually akin to unspeakable diseases." And then when cornered, look at the brazen audacity, right from T.R. Balu to an Udayanidhi Stalin or even a Priyanka Khadge for that matter. They in unison say we are not against Sanatana, you see, we are against the caste hierarchy within Hinduism. Do you have the audacity or the guts to talk about the various denominations of churches? Do you have the gumption to talk about 52 odd caste hierarchies within the Muslim community? No. Hindu dharma ka ye hai कि जिनको एफओई के बारे में जानकारी देनी है, ये सबसे पहले कहते हैं हम आकर हिंदू धर्म को बैश करेंगे, and then they also expect us to take it with our heads bowed down, which is the sad and tragic bit.
But this is what was started by E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar.
Absolutely.
And a lot of these people who are calling out Sanatan Dharma or trying to say that we are calling out so-called casteism, they don't practice Sanatan Dharma anymore.
Exactly.
A lot of them have given up Sanatan. They may still retain names that have been derived out of Hindu deities, but they have not. They are following some other religion altogether. So that is also then how is that rationalism? That's another question that arises, Dr. Chandan Gowda. So this is under the garb of rationalism. You are opening up and you're standing there and giving a brazen, bigoted point of view. That's what you're doing. These people are not atheists. These people are subscribing to another faith. While they are abusing Sanatan Dharma and people who follow Sanatan Dharma.
Are we discussing the MP's remarks against the Gaumutra states? Or are we going back to 3-month-old thing about Sanatan Dharma?
No, sir, we are looking at a continuum. This continues from the 50s or even before that, and it continues into 2020s. That's what we are saying. Is this whole thing, is it endemic to the DMA or is it intrinsic to the DNA of the DMK, sir?
And 2 replies. Yes, someone like Periyar did have a certain understanding of Hinduism, and he was an atheist and a rationalist, and he didn't think Hindu faith was rational by the way he understood rationality. Now, he is entitled to his way of reading, and we are free to differ, like we have done all these years. And there's a multiplicity of views on what constitutes Hindu Dharma, etc. Let's not get into that discussion now. Now, and like the Senthil Kumar himself said, I've said these things before, it's a matter of habit, I didn't mean to be intentionally insulting, is something to be taken seriously. He's saying, yeah, it's a habit, I want to get out of it now. Please remember, in the post-election analysis, 5 states election analysis, everyone is pointing to how the Sanatan Dharma remark has been actually used in campaigns up north to make the Congress look in a negative light. Given that hyper awareness of what it has done, they're unlikely to want to do the same thing again. I would like to think he's done it as a matter of habit, like he himself wants us to think. And he's apologized for it.
No, matter of habit. How is it matter of habit? Sir, these matter of habits don't come. No, please. These matter of habits, Dr. Chandan Gowda, don't come when it comes to other faiths. They're very careful about what language and how they will speak. Sir, this is ingrained bigoted mindset against those who follow a particular faith, or has it been entrenched into them that it's in my DNA to oppose and abuse anything that's got to do with Sanatan practices?
Anand, this is where we get into difficulties, right? They're not saying that they're not Hindus anymore. They're saying they are certain kinds
Is
of
Andimuttu Raja Hindu, sir?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's what I said. Please find out.
Christian.
He's a baptized Christian now, sir.
He's a baptized
Mr.
Christian.
Mr. Udayanidhi Stalin, please tell me, sir, if he's a practicing Hindu even now.
That is a...
No, sir. No, please. This is all being done under the garb of rationalism. Please tell me what rationalist approach has been taken against any of the other non-Sanatan faiths. What rationalistic approach has been taken, sir?
This is the thing, Anand. They are inside the Hindu order. They are from the lower castes.
No, sir. Are you trying to say Mattu Pongal is not intrinsic to Tamil Nadu? That the cow is not, and that Gaumutra is never used in any part of Tamil Nadu or any part of south of India? No, what did he mean by Gaumutra states then? That was a derogatory usage, and you are saying he did it out of habit. If he did it out of habit, it's ingrained in his head.
No, Anand, what I'm saying is the Tamil Nadu textbooks themselves
Anand, can I
use the word
quickly comment?
Sanatan Dharma to discuss Hinduism. So if they meant all of this, they would have taken those out, right? So I'm trying to say there's a political culture.
No, sir. Sir, if you're going to say political culture, does this political culture question the inefficiencies and the inherent weaknesses of any of the other faiths? This is percolating from E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar, who made it a habit to abuse only Hindu pratha, sir.
Anand, I'm willing to bet that from now
sir. Sanju Verma and then the other two guests. No, sir. Sir, please convince me otherwise. Show me one instance from E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar downwards, from his time to now, where any of the other non-Sanatan faiths have been questioned under the garb of rationalism, sir.
Right.
And their inefficiencies.
These were local events.
Sanju Verma.
They were happening inside Tamil Nadu.
Sir, the entire platform where Udayanidhi Stalin stood was to eradicate Sanatan Dharma, and the ideologue is somebody who's a hand carry forward from E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar, the ideologue of the DMK, sir. Please tell me if I'm wrong. Yes, correct me if I'm wrong. Sanju Verma.
It became a national event.
Sanju Verma and then Dr. Ranganathan. Sanju Verma and then Dr. Ranganathan.
Anand, I just want to, I have never been known not to call a spade, and just very quickly, without being verbose, is Udayanidhi Stalin an atheist? No. Is he a practicing Sanatani? No. Is he a Yes. Is M. Appavu, another very senior DMK leader who's been passing hate speeches and anti-Hindu comments under the guise of FOE, is he a practicing Sanatani? No. He's a crypto-Christian. Is A. Raja a practicing Sanatani? No. He's a baptized Christian.
That is not necessary.
So the fact of the matter is, you are not an atheist, you are a baptized Christian, and then you have the audacity to give a bhashan to Hindus. Chup ho jao. आपकी बारी नहीं है.
Absolutely.
The anchor has asked me to speak. शांत रहो.
आप जब ये ट्रिपल तलाक पे बोलना शुरू कर देती हैं.
No. 1 minute, sir. Please try. Let me wait your turn, and I'll come to you. You don't need to heckle. The point is, you may say that it is not necessary that.
All I'm saying is,
you may not. My point is, sir. I'm not saying why are you questioning. I'm saying have you questioned? No. Have they questioned any other faith, any other practice? That's the question where I'll park that with you. I'll come to you, Mr. Srivastava. Please, Mr. Srivastava, please don't heckle. Please don't do it. Please don't do it, Vivek.
Every day,
Vivek, please don't do it.
Thank you.
Sanju Verma.
I repeat, Udayanidhi Stalin is not a practicing Hindu. Periyar Balu of the DMK is not a practicing Hindu. A. Raja of the DMK is not a practicing Hindu. M. Appavu of the DMK is not a practicing Hindu. These are all baptized Christians or crypto-Christians. So they have absolutely no business giving pearls of wisdom on how to reform Sanatan. Point number one. And point number two. When Senthil Kumar, I went to his Twitter timeline and it says that he's a practicing radiologist or a cardiologist, what have you. Does he ask his patients the way he said Gaumutra states, are you from Chole Bhature eating Punjab or Idli Sambar eating Chennai or Machhe Jhol eating West Bengal or Pakhal Bhat eating Odisha or Lal Bhaji eating Chhattisgarh?
Bhai, he has apologized on that statement. That issue is over.
No, it's not over, sir. Sir, it's the apology allows that statement to be expunged and rescinded from Parliament. But the fact that if it is ingrained and he himself is saying, I have said it before and nobody said anything, then now I'll say it again. And there are other comments that he's made. I have taken the story forward beyond the apology. Apology is welcome. But the fact is this thought process, this is intrinsic to this to the DMK is the question that I'm asking. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, Sanju Verma, please yield. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan, thank you for your patience. Coming to you, Vivek, after that, please. Yeah.
Yes, couple of brief points to make. Number one, I will believe that DMK leaders and DMK are rationalist. I will lifelong, I am a Nota voter, but I will start voting for them. The day you can call them baptized or crypto-Christian or whatever, Appavu and Udaynidhi and others, Balu or Raja, the day they say that we are rationalist and therefore sainthood should be taken away from Mother Teresa, because the one condition for being endowed with sainthood was that she has conducted miracles and cured someone of cancer by the fact that that person who was suffering from cancer kept a locket that had Mother Teresa's photo on it. That was the reason why the Pope and the Vatican bestowed the title of sainthood on this. So I would love it. I would vote for them lifelong. If Udaynidhi has the guts to say, we are rationalists, take away the sainthood from Mother Teresa. Hai guts ye? Nahi hai. Secondly, Anand, I'll be very honest, I actually don't blame Udaynidhi or Raja or Balu and all these people who've been making these comments, because that is, they are holding aloft their proud tradition. And I'll come to that in a minute, because that is the thrust of your topic. I blame the Supreme Court, whose strict order of April they have violated, because Supreme Court said any hate speech, the state has to come down immediately and charge the person. It's been 3 months. Tamil Nadu government has done nothing, but forget that, they won't obviously. But Supreme Court is also silent. But in the case of Nupur, they blamed Nupur for merely quoting the scriptures. Number two, and this is where I want to come in, just give me a minute, because Anand, this was the topic. And such statements that these people have been making are entirely in keeping with the DMK founder stand. Let me explain. E.V. Ramasamy or Periyar thrived on acrimony, spitefulness and rancor. He never gathered the courage like Ambedkar did to criticize the regressive, misogynistic, exclusionist and bigoted practices of religions other than Hinduism. In fact, unlike the ruthlessly objective Ambedkar, Periyar praised Abrahamic religions. He wanted Hindus to convert to Islam. He was an antithesis of Ambedkar, who he, by the way, disliked and claimed to be on the payrolls of Brahmins. Anyhow, I abhor Periyar's means, but to me, he was a proof of the extent to which Hindus accept diversity of opinion. The price for apostasy in Hinduism, Anand, is veneration. What is the price, I ask you, for apostasy in Islam? I'll tell you, death. Finally, let me quote Periyar verbatim, because this will make everything very clear. Quote, as a first step, we will burn the constitution. Then we will burn Gandhi's photo. Then we will uproot all Gandhi's statues. Brahmin is a snake entangled in our feet. If you see a snake and a Brahmin on the road, kill the Brahmin first. And finally, let me mention a quote verbatim. Quote, whatever Periyar says can only be said by a criminal or a lunatic. Do not delay in dealing with this matter. Let him be put in a lunatic asylum and his perverted mind treated there, unquote. Do you know who said this? Jawaharlal Nehru to K. Kamaraj on November 5th, 1957. So whatever these DMK, Stalin Jr. or Raja or Balu are saying is entirely in keeping with this ideology. A jackfruit never falls far from its tree.
No,
the DMK and the Congress, and the Congress are in a strong alliance. They're in a strong alliance. Somehow, somewhere, I hope one hopes that the Congress also reads the history or goes back to history, that the fact that the Congress footprint was wiped out from the state of Tamil Nadu by the DMK only. Anyway, that's the politics of it. But the rationale and this whole aspect that if you are calling yourself and if you're coming from an ideological stem that itself is so bigoted under the garb of rationalism, then how can you espouse secular values? You cannot. Vivek Srivastava.
See, I'll be very clear. Now, Anand, you have done a great injustice to Periyar today. You are very selective. in what you said, and I do not know if you are aware of the great meeting that Ambedkar went. Went and met Periyar and discussed their own ways of model. And I do not agree with some parts of Periyar where he was divisive in nature and talked of a separate homeland and all. But yes, there is no doubt he was a great reformer. The kind of cadre that he was developing was very much like what we do in our mass front organizations. And you have to understand the Aryan invasion theory and what the Dravids feel, which you are not willing to accept. They feel an injustice was done to them. The same teacher, the same Brahmin, the same priest
Dr. Srivastava
was very good
Dr. Srivastava, sorry, Dr. Ranganathan, sorry, Vivek Srivastava, I'm just confounded and I'm befuddled. Seriously, you so conveniently in just one line, how do the left do this, Dr. Ranganathan? They erase 500 years of history. They are able to turn Yudhishthir into a Buddhist. And here, a person who advocated secession, breaking away and was in cahoots and was seeking Jinnah's partnership. He said it in one line. I don't agree with his forming of a separate state, but he was a great reformer.
Yes.
But he was a great.
But there were other aspects of
this art of spinning the narrative. The left has mastered.
Yes,
the left has mastered.
Not. See,
and perhaps that's why they get away with it every time.
Let's be fair.
Fair? What is there to be fair here, sir? What is there to be fair? He wanted a separate Dravidistan. He went after Sanatan Pratha only because he wanted to carve a grouping of 5 separate castes, some upper caste, some backward caste, so that he could create an electoral vote bank that could take on the Congress party. And he was on the streets taking chappals and hitting idols of Ganesha, Ram and Muruga, saying, what is it that they are doing to me? Where is your Ram? Where is your... This is the same group that in 2007 questioned the origin of Ram, the existence of Ram, because they denied the existence of the Ram Setu in the Honorable Supreme Court. And you are batting for them, Vivek Srivastava. क्या कर रहे हैं आप?
No, you are not.
Anand Ranganathan.
You are not letting me speak, sir. मेरी बात सुनिए. Dravids को दबाया गया और आप
Who are Dravid, sir? Who are Dravid? Rahul Dravid is from Karnataka. He is not from Tamil Nadu. Shankaracharya introduced himself as coming from the land from Dravida. What is Dravida, sir? Dravida is the land that is sandwiched between water on 3 sides. Peninsula is Dravida, sir. So Karnataka is Dravida, Telangana is Dravida, Andhra Pradesh is Dravida, Kerala is Dravida, and also Tamil Nadu is Dravida. That's how Shankaracharya, born in Kerala, introduced himself when he was in the court of the King of Kashmir. Please understand, please get your terminology right. Appropriation should not be allowed. Please.
My terminology is correct.
And like I said, you people, the left has become past masters in appropriation and also spinning narratives and lines. That's what's happened. That's what's happened. No, sir, that is evident tonight. That is evident tonight on the right stand. It's evident tonight on the right stand.
No, it is not evident tonight.
It is very evident. It is very evident. To the lady and the gentleman, I've run out of time. We'll take this forward. This doesn't end here. We'll take this forward. Thank you very much. Winding up the right stand on that note. Stay with us. Brass Tacks follows after a short break.
Movement that inspires.
Exposing India's detractors.
India is not a democracy.
What does the constitution mean?
Demolishing double standards. Debunking hypocrisy. Because India deserves better. The Right Stand. At this time on CNN News 18.
Movement that inspires.
evening, this is Brass Tacks. I'm Zaka Jacob. The North versus South divide, which is rather derogatorily been referred to by a DMK MP as the North India states being Gaumutra states, is already taking a toll on the India Alliance parties who are in North India. While the DMK MP in question, Mr. Senthil Kumar, has already apologized, his comments have been expunged from the records of the Lok Sabha, the damage has already been done. Now, there's also a new clip of the new Chief Minister to be in Telangana referring to KCR as someone having a Bihari DNA and that Telangana DNA is better than Bihari DNA. This is from an avowed Congress leader, soon to be Chief Minister of Telangana. Where does this leave the Congress party and also its India Alliance partners, SP, RJD, JDU, etc., all of whom have to fight elections in North India? After the Sanatan Dharm insult by Udayanidhi Stalin, this is the second big insult to North Indians and to the India Alliance parties who have to fight and win elections in North India.